Wah. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents Scents. So everybody out there, for the most part, knows the big boy clone fragrances. We're talking about Club de Nuit Intense Man from ARMAF or LATTAFA Camera. These are the clones that everybody knows, everybody wants, or at least if you're into clone fragrances, you want them. They're the ones that everybody thinks of when they hear clone fragrances. But today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at 12 different clone fragrances that don't get talked about, like Camera or Club de Nuit Intense Man. Whether they're from a very popular house and just not as well known, or from a new or unknown clone house, I've got here some clones that don't really get talked about that you do need to know about. As always, I'll have these all linked down below in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. And if you would like some codes to buy not clone fragrances from Max Aroma, Twisted Lily, So Avant Garde, you know the drill. Pause the video now and use these codes. Save yourself a little money. All right, let's check these fragrances out. This is in no particular order. The vast majority of these I bought from either Joma Shop or Fragrance Buy. And all of these are, for the most part, very affordable, outside of one of them. One of them is quite expensive compared to the others, and I'll tell you which one it is when we get to it. All right, let's kick things off with SAPIL's Bound. Bound for Men. And SAPIL is like an offshoot of Swiss Arabian. And I hope that they keep making stuff underneath this SAPIL line, because this one is very good, and Bound is a clone of Armani's Code Profumo. And what makes this even better is that Code Profumo is now getting much more difficult to find, since Armani is basically changing the code line to the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, and the Parfum. And we'll see what else comes out down the line. But you know, Profumo, Absolute, stuff like that, those are getting very difficult to pick up, more expensive, harder to locate. So something like this, which is a clone of Profumo, I love it. And it is actually a very good clone. The quality here is nice. It's going to get you an extremely similar fragrance, same scent profile as Code Profumo, only way cheaper. So SAPIL Bound, you got to check this one out. It is a little bit cheap in terms of the presentation. I know that it's a cheap fragrance overall, so you'd expect that, but some of these actually look better than others. Like, it has this little part on the back that's supposed to look like a stitch through this fake leather, but it's actually just a sticker slapped over the back, and the cap is not great, but the fragrance is nice. After that one, let's take a look at this from LATTAFA, Hayati. Hayati. Sounds like a karate fragrance, even though I'm actually just probably butchering the pronunciation. So this one, a really simple presentation. It doesn't give you any clues as to what this would smell like. And this is a clone of Invictus Aqua 2016. The OG Invictus Aqua, the most sought after Invictus Aqua. I do have an issue where my collar likes to come off the bottle, but that's pretty much the only drawback. Everything about this is really good outside of that. And the best part about this one, under 20 bucks. Yeah, super cheap. The quality is really, really nice. And for this price point, I'd say this is probably going to be your best Invictus Aqua clone on the market. Fresh, sweet, super easy to wear, and good performance. Now one from EMIR, and it's called Celestial. And this is a clone of Ganymede. Ganymede is much more expensive than this as well. Ganymede is a fragrance that I personally love. It's got this great kind of mineral leather kind of vibe, so it's very fresh, and it has this almost slate kind of smell to it, this fresh slate, like spritzed with water. This one, it looks interesting, you know, it's got this big eagle or whatever up top on the cap, and it looks like it'd be really heavy, but it's actually a little bit lightweight as far as the bottle goes. So from afar, it probably looks a little more expensive than it feels. But quality-wise, this is an extremely good clone of Ganymede that's gonna cost you close to nothing. So this is the first place you need to check if you're looking for an alternative to Ganymede. All right, let's get weird with this next one, because it doesn't really make much sense. It kind of makes my head hurt. It's from a brand that most people will have probably never heard of. I only recently became aware of them, called ZIMAYA. ZIMAYA. I guess that's how it's pronounced. And the name of the fragrance is Braveheart. So take a look at this. What does that remind you of? This is very obviously an African leather clone from the House of Memo. I mean, look at it. It's It's like so obvious until you smell it. And then you're like, wait a sec. That doesn't, that doesn't smell like African leather. So yeah, African leather, give that a spray. I love African leather, it's one of my favorites. Cardamom in there smells absolutely fantastic. A little bit sweet, fresh, warm, lively, with this leather underneath and vetiver underneath that. Braveheart, which by the way, terrible atomizer. Smells absolutely nothing like African leather. No, it's not an African leather clone, even though it looks very much like it should be an African leather clone. Instead, it's closer to the one Luminous Night. Yeah, go figure. So that one is, like I said, very confusing. I would imagine that for a lot of people, they would think it's African leather, they would get it in, and if they have African leather or have smelled it, they'd be pretty confused. Now, I don't know if you would call it exactly a one-to-one of Luminous Night, maybe like Luminous Night with a slight twist, but it is much closer to that than African leather. So keep that in mind. Braveheart is not what it looks like, but it is actually a really nice smelling fragrance. Only drawback there is that atomizer. Now, something completely different. Invocation from the House of Santalys. Now, these popped up at Joma Shop, and I bought 4 of them. And they came kind of scattered in like 3 different shipments, if memory serves correctly. And Invocation, this is a clone of Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue, or Light Blue Eau Intense for men, just to be as clear as possible. It actually smells really good off skin. It's extremely close, even though nothing about this looks like a light blue fragrance. Kind of a Tom Ford-esque looking bottle, you know, kind of like a gray vetiver type bottle with the purple coloration here and the name Invocation. None of that says light blue, but that's what you get. Now, I do need to warn you guys, they have a fragrance called Aventura, which looks like it would be a Creed's Aventus clone. I got that one in, and it is a Creed Aventus clone. Okay, that makes sense, Then they have one called Millesime in a gold bottle. It's gotta be Millesime Imperial, right? Wrong. It doesn't smell anything like Millesime Imperial. I have no clue what this brand is doing. They are on drugs. I think it's actually closer to like an Herba Pura Kirke kind of fragrance, but I only sprayed it on a tester strip before this video, and it was immediately apparent it's not Millesime Imperial. All right, let's keep it moving. We're talking too much. Next, let's talk about this ARMAF Magnificent Pour Homme. This is a clone of Dior Sauvage Very Cool Spray, which is discontinued and is very difficult to find, actually. A couple days ago, I was looking to see how much they were running nowadays, how much they would cost. There wasn't even a single bottle on eBay. Like, how is that possible? Not even one of Sauvage Very Cool Spray? I mean, as of when you're watching this, there very well might be, but when I looked, nothing. So yeah, this is gonna get you basically that. It's Dior Sauvage, only fresher, not quite as heavy-handed, not quite as aggressive with that metallic feel. So you could think of this as like Dior Sauvage made more approachable during late spring, summer, and early fall. Still gonna have that compliment factor, that ease of use that Sauvage has. Now the next one is not an official entry in this list because it's not a spray clone, it's a solid clone. And it's from DeBaume.com, technically DeBaume.com. Bleu de Baume, which is a solid clone of Bleu de Chanel. It looks like a little chapstick tube. So you push it up, and there's the solid, and you rub it on yourself, and there you go. So they had a few. They had a Bleu de Chanel, they had Aventus, and Sauvage, and I'm assuming they're gonna have a lot more that come out as time goes on, kind of a new company. But this one was my favorite, the Bleu de Baume. I think it's the closest to the real deal. And one thing that I really like about this is you can layer it very easily. So you could rub this on, and then you have a Bleu de Chanel clone, and you know that's gonna stick around on your skin. You could spray the Bleu de Chanel over top if you wanted to. So you could use it for like layering, or alternatively, you could use that to top up throughout the day because it's easy to carry this around. So just kind of a thing I wanted to throw in there and mention. This is a bit different. All right, next up, let's talk about Chancellor. Chancellor Ultimate, technically, from CYRUS Parfums. I reviewed this one a little bit ago, and this is a clone of Stronger With You. A really nice clone of Stronger With You, actually. Another issue with the collar, though. Like, so many clone brands just like can't get the collar right. You just put it should stay, man. So yeah, Chancellor Ultimate Clone Stronger With You, gonna get you the same kind of feel, same kind of vibes. It's very warm, fragrant, sweet, big compliment puller. ARMAF Victory, which is so ugly. That is also a clone of Stronger With You, but it's discontinued, so yeah. And actually, Chancellor Ultimate is closer to smelling like actual Stronger With You. ARMAF Victory is kind of like a twist. It's got some different things in there. Ana ABIYEDH is up next. Technically, it's Ana ABIYEDH Leather. And this is from LATTAFA. Depending on where you look, you can find this often for around $15. And this is a sort of clone twist on a Memo fragrance, a Memo leather fragrance. So whereas we had Braveheart earlier that it looks like it should be, but then really isn't, this one actually is. And this is a clone of Irish leather from Memo Paris. Now, it's not an extreme one-to-one of that fragrance, but it's very close. It's like a light twist on Irish leather. For the price, it's a no-brainer. There's also Ana ABIYEDH Rouge. That one is much more well-known, and that is a clone of Baccarat Rouge 540. All right, next one is Kismet Angel. This one is from Maison Alhambra, which is an offshoot of LATTAFA. So it's the same company, essentially. And this is a clone of Angel Share. That's right. So LATTAFA technically is rolling out two different Angel Share clones here, Camera and Kismet Angel. Now, Camera is the one that gets all the hype, and part of that is going to be because of the presentation, because this does look a lot closer to Angel Share. This one is much simpler, but this is also a great clone to Angel Share. It's very, very good. It's got that sweetness, that warmth, that booziness, that almost sticky kind of nature to it. People love it. Big compliment puller. And typically easier to find and cheaper than Camera. So Kismet Angel is one you need to be aware of. Now we got the expensive boy. This is a pricey one, okay? HARAMAIN Amber Oud Ultraviolet. Not ultraviolence, ultraviolet. And this one is a ladies fragrance, or a clone of a ladies fragrance. It's a clone of Gucci Flora Gorgeous Gardenia. I think the only place in the US right now that has it is Joma Shop. When it first was dropped on Joma Shop's website, it was a little bit more affordable. I think it was around 60 bucks, and now it's like 80. So it's gone up a bit. It is very nice quality though. Yeah, even just from the atomizer, like they absolutely nailed this. So that's one that I would keep my eyes open for if you're interested. You know, watch that price, see if it trickles down a little bit, especially as more of it hits the market. But Amber Oud Ultraviolet, that is Gucci Flora Gorgeous Gardenia straight up. And if you're interested in that fragrance, check that one out. Maybe pick it up for girlfriend, wife, friend, mom, who cares? Whoever you want to have smell nice. Now we got another from ZIMAYA, Night Shadow. Look at that. Would you look at it? Just look at it. That's, yeah, it's pretty obvious what they're doing there. This is a clone of Louis Vuitton Ombre Nomad. Could you guess? I bet you couldn't. Just playing. Yeah, so obvious Louis Vuitton dupe here, and the cap, unfortunately, is not quite up to par with the Louis Vuitton, we'll say. Yeah, just put that back on there. But it's a really good clone. It's not very expensive. The quality is nice. It doesn't have any like overly chemically feel to it when you first spray it on, which some clones can have. You can tell right away what it is a clone of, and it's got good staying power. So the two ZIMAYAs that I have, this one looks like the fragrance it's cloning, and it does a good job at doing that. The other is completely confusing to me. I have no clue what's going on with it. Either they tried to clone African leather and completely botched it and came out with something that smells more closely to the one Luminous Night, or they're trying to like be big brain and throw people off their trail by making a bottle that looks like a fragrance that they're not cloning. They're actually cloning a different one. I don't know. I'm actually starting to think they just botched it. Who knows? Last one, LATTAFA Blue Sapphire. I hate this bottle. I think it looks so stupid. I know there are gonna be people out here who are like, so luxurious, but no. It just looks weird. Like a little face, like two eyes and a little mouth down there. Kind of like one eye is bigger than the other kind of deal. Like, that's how the bottle looks. Yeah, don't like it. But technically it comes in a more high-end packaging compared to most LATTAFAs. The cap is actually pretty nice. It's heavy, it looks classy, it clicks into place. So outside of just the doofy looking kind of style here, I mean, I guess it's fine. Just when I look at it, it just feels weird. That is a clone of Versace Eros. And it's a darn good clone. Off skin, smells very nice. It's got a good amount of freshness in there. It has that sweetness you would expect from an Eros type of scent. It's really well done. I mean, I can't see it ever becoming like one of the mega popular LATTAFAs, because at the end of the day, Eros is not super expensive, talking from discounters anyway, or even really at full retail. It's not that bad compared to a lot of scents coming out nowadays. But it is a very nice alternative to Eros, and it does cost a bit less than Eros. So in that aspect, it would make sense for a lot of people out there to have that, because it's going to give you that wearability. It's going to give you that compliment factor that so many people seek out by wearing Eros. So there we go, 12 different clone fragrances that you should know. Ones that are not talked about quite as much, ones that are not hyped as much, but each one of these is very well done. I want to thank you all for hanging with me here today. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.